Hello Flosstube! Hi, nice to see you. I'm Emma of Emma's Stitches and I'm here in West Yorkshire in the north of England. Thank you for joining me. Happy New Year to you all. I know it's the 11th of January but it's my first time this year, so I shall say Happy New Year. This is Flosstube number 3. Number 3, take 2. I did do number 3 at the start of December and chickened out. I let perfect be the enemy of good and deleted the whole thing about 3 days after I'd done it, after I ummed and ahed, and I really shouldn't have done that. I'm determined this year that this is the time to just get on with things. Don't be afraid. Try the things that you're scared of if you can. Get yourself out of the comfort zone a little bit. In part because it's my birthday on Saturday, and along the similar vein to Sally from Flossy Sews and Grows and So Me Sarah, who are doing 50 starts for their 50th year, I turn 49 on Saturday, which means this time next year I'll be about to turn 50. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to be in my 50th year. 49 completed years on Saturday, nearly half a century in this world, and so I think it's the right time of life to just try something that you think you can't do, and go for it. So that's my plan this year. I won't be doing 50 starts. I don't think I will. I might, I suppose. I don't think I will. I can't wait to watch Sally and Sarah do their 50 starts, and I'll definitely join in with some. I was sort of thinking that I might try to work towards having 50 whips by the end of the year, and I've currently got 23. I've currently got 23. So if I have 50 whips by my birthday, then I could potentially aim to try and have 50 finishes the year after. Maybe. Who knows? It's just good to have an idea in your head, isn't it? So I might do that. Actually, no, I haven't got 23 whips at the moment because this is my cross-stitch journal by It's So Emma, and this holds 50 projects in here. So I have my list, and then on each page I have my detail of what I'm sewing and the designer and the fabric, etc. But I have actually finished a couple of these. So I have 23 in the book, but I've got 21 on the go. It's hard to keep track, isn't it? Very hard. Okay, so what's been happening? November was a tough month, a month of illness in our house, and it was one of those that you got ill. You started with a sore throat, and then it proceeded to a cold and a cough, and you felt generally unwell and you were fatigued, and then you sort of thought you were getting better, and then it would just come back round full circle back to the sore throat again. And that happened to all of us in the house. So November really just stalled. The kids were off school for a prolonged period. One was off, went back to school, then the other one was off. And then finally I was ill. My husband was exhausted throughout. So really, November just, was difficult. By the time December rolled around, you're like a snowball gathering pace down a hill, aren't you? A very steep hill towards Christmas. So Christmas stress rolled around. As much as I try really hard not to let it get to me, there is a juggling aspect to the lead up to Christmas, isn't there? You're trying to keep everybody happy. We have a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old, and obviously things are different now than they were a few years ago. A few years ago we still had all the excitement of Christmas and the Christmas lists, and they still wanted toys. We used to have a Lego Christmas, and we'd all get a Lego set and all build Lego on Christmas Day and Boxing Day and many days thereafter. But that's all sort of gone by the wayside now. You don't realise how lovely it is until those days are past and you're in a different phase with your children. So it was hard. They didn't want to help put the tree up. They didn't want to watch any Christmas films. I mean, no, can you believe it? And so a lot of times the expectation didn't meet reality, as in that's the case for many people at Christmas, I suppose. So I watched Christmas films by myself. I did a bit of stitching. Nicholas was asleep on the couch with Raffy most of the time, cuddling up with the dog. Raffy's our chocolate Labrador. So yeah, it was one of those. All our family's in Lancashire, so we did do a couple of trips, sort of around before it was my dad's 70th, pre-Christmas, and then afterwards we went to the other side of the family, Nicholas's family, for a birthday party of our nephew, first birthday party of our nephew Teddy, who I'll mention a bit later on because I'm stitching something for Teddy. So, yeah, and then basically the start of this month, my 14-year-old was ill again with absolute raging fevers. So he only went back to school yesterday. So this is my second day of this year with a bit of peace. I actually just was trying to get my head together yesterday with thoughts of the year, what's coming up, and what I'd like to do, and how I feel about turning 49, and just those sorts of things that you get a chance to do and you just get a minute's headspace, and the craziness has stopped. So here we go. So I'm just going to sit, relax, talk about stitching. I am very happy if you want to make a comment or chat back with me. I would love that. So, and hopefully you'll be inspired or enjoy watching a little bit of what I've managed to do during the time of chaos since Halloween, since my last Flosstube. So, okay. Where shall I start? So, I will start with my finishes since I last filmed. So you might have seen on Instagram, I remember I wanted to do the Chocolate Labrador in the World of Cross Stitching, Wishes Granted section. So I completed him, little sweetie with his little 2023 charm, and I did a little circular finish with a little bit of doggy fabric on the back. I used all the called for, but I just changed the hat to étoile, a little bit of sparkle. I did it on a 32 count, that's why it's come out so small. I wasn't convinced about the shading because it's not really the shading of my boy, and so I did a conversion, and this is what I did second. This is more like my boy. So this one I did on this plastic bauble from Pip and Chip on Etsy. I thought I would give it a go. I quite like how it turned out. So I did my own colours. I carried on with the étoile in the hat. I did a couple of little charms at the top, handmade with love, made with love. R for Raffy, Raphael, he's named after my third great grandfather. And I popped some felt on the back. It's with some fabric glue. So it's a really neat finish, actually. What did I put around the edge? The gold is a Paint Box Threads gold. So yeah, I think that turned out very sweet. I had it up on my desk, and I will put it away till next year, and I can get little Raffy out again. My experience with the acrylic bauble, it was tricky because there's no give to feed your stitches, feed your needle through to put your tail end through the back. You've nothing to give. So if you're stitching quite tight, which I was, obviously, if I stitched looser, I don't think it'd look great if it was loose enough to get a needle through the back. So that was my biggest difficulty. So I mainly just held my tail and stitched over, as opposed to trying to feed it through at the end, if you're with me. But other than that, I really quite liked it. So that was that finish. So then I wanted to make some Christmas project bags. So I used some fabric I've had for a little while. What's it called? Keep Believing, I think. Lewis and Irene. Really cute. It's these little scenes. I got several pieces of fabric a couple of years ago now, and I think this one was for placemats. It was for making placemats. So you got these panels, and then obviously there's all the coordinating fabric. There's another coordinating one inside. So I thought, oh, well, that's a really great size. And for this project bag, I used the tutorial Elizabeth Can Stitch to pop this together. So this was so simple, really simple. There is some interfacing, fusible interfacing, like of a decent thickness. So there's a bit of padding to it, and the tutorial for this is really good to follow. She's great, and I actually really liked, you can see there, that's just my seam at the bottom. Because you've got the lining, you've got it's a lovely finish inside. Anyway, so I liked doing that. However, I do like a more detailed one, so that's quite a simple one to do, really good fun. So then I thought, well, I'll do a more complicated one as well. So I went back to my pattern that I've got for from By Annie, Project Bags 2.0. So this is based on that pattern with a vinyl front, which I really like. So again, I've just used the placemat panels, put one at the back, and I put another one inside, which I measured up to fit perfectly within the vinyl section. And spot the schoolgirl error here. That is my seam allowance that I didn't take into account. So you can not only see the panel, you can see the bit above. So there you go, but you live and learn, don't you? And that's what I really enjoy doing. I enjoy, keep trying, and you learn something each time. So this will help me remember, don't forget about your seam allowance when you're measuring up, because I didn't take it into account, and now you can see that bit. But ideally, my border was going to be so that only the panel was visible. But anyway, that's another try. I like having the handle. I like the padding. So that was the 2 Christmas bags that I got done. And then more recently, I decided to do another couple of project bags, which you might have seen. Inspired by Nicola at Bumble Stitches. She showed a fabric panel quite a while ago, a Laurie Holt one, a huge fabric panel which comes with 8 pre-printed with dotted lines around the outside, pieces of fabric ready for you to cut and make into project bags. So it's called So Zippy. So Zippy project bags, I think. And she has a YouTube, Laurie Holt has a YouTube tutorial with how to put them together. A bit of quilting on the back, you can do whatever you like. This one, again, is very simple. She even includes these little tags on the fabric panel. The zips, they coordinate, you buy separately. So I had managed to get hold of both of these. This fabric inside is just a simple one. So the lining fabric isn't included. You have all the outer, but you don't have any batting or lining fabric. So if you want to include that, you need to allow for that and add that on. The zips I like because they're double zippers, so those are handy. It's a very simple project putting together. This is my seam inside, so it's not too bulky, but nevertheless there is a seam inside. So again, what you get is you get 4 small ones and 4 large bags on this fabric panel. So that was one of the small ones that I went ahead and did, and then this was a bigger one. Now I've used poetic license on this, and I've gone ahead. I wanted to add binding because I really like the way it looks. I think it just gives it that something. I like a handle on the top. So this is another part of the panel. So this panel, this bit, red coordinating zip, this section for the back. What did I put inside this one? Oh yeah, and that was some more. I think that is also Laurie Holt, little crosses. So I thought, well, that's lovely. So obviously everything is really, I love making project bags, and I find that I do learn a lot each time I make them. Each time I make another one, I think, oh, that's something else, and it does go a bit easier and a bit easier. So if it's something you thought about but you haven't tried, just give it a go and give it a go. I did a little bit of fancy stitching around there. I also did some sort of freestyle quilting and really enjoyed that. I just basically had fun with it. Again, that's got a bit of batting in it. This one's not too thick. I should have put a bit of a thicker one in, really, I think. But anyway, there we go. So that was another project bag. So I've still got another 6 slots to go. But I thought, well, I've done 2 in December, 2 in January, and I will perhaps do another couple in February. So that was my project bag finishes. So in December, I got the Stitchfinity advent calendar. I've never had one before. They've done it for 2 years before. I don't know if you've seen the end result, but basically the way this works is it's a project. It's one whole project, and you work a little bit on it each day. It's a mystery project. You get some instructions each day. For example, in a little brown, lovely little cute envelope, little envelopes with numbers on, instructions inside, and what you need, the pattern, etc. for what you're doing that day, and everything you need. So a couple of years ago, it was some lovely bunting on plasticator that you strung up at the end, like mini bunting. Which said Merry Christmas. Then last year they did a lovely scene, like a Santa and a fireplace. And I thought that was so sweet. That again was on plasticator, I think, because it was stood up at the end. So I thought, I got myself on the newsletter, and when the pre-order came out, I got on it. Really reasonable price, especially to compare with some of the advent calendars where you sort of get a little gift each day. I'm not overly convinced about those at all, because obviously they've got to make the money back somehow, and so I don't know if you actually end up getting value for money with those. Whereas with this, I mean, this box is lovely that it's coming. It's a really sturdy box, so you can keep all your bits in there. You're working on a project, and at Christmas, in theory, you would have something to show for it. This is mine. Let's have a guess. Did I finish it? No, I didn't. However, I think I had a lot of thought put into it, a lot of effort, great materials, great support group. Nobody spoiled anything for anybody else. Everybody did pictures in the comments, so if they were putting any progress on, you didn't see the progress unless you clicked on the comments, which was, you know, that's lovely because, well, there's not many people that could keep up or, you know, didn't get behind. Lots of people are just finishing now. Small handful finished on time that posted and celebrated what they'd created. Mine is not finished, but will be for 2024. So we started with this section here. So it was a mystery section. So I think one of the sides, so sort of the brown and the pink was one day, and then filling in the white was the next day. And then you had to turn it around, do the opposite side. Again, brown and pink, and then the white with the little year on. So that was 4 days worth of stitching. So they said it was somewhere around an hour of stitching a day that it was going to take you. For me, it was definitely more than an hour. I don't know if they accounted for the stopping and starting and checking instructions. I'm not sure. I think an hour for a very fast stitcher that is literally just doing that, nothing else, no interruptions from husband, children, dogs, doorbells. So that was 4 days worth, at which point I had sort of guessed that was looking like a roof. This is on perforated paper, it's not plastic, so a bit more flexibility, however still sturdy. And then these were another few days worth, which clearly are going to be sides of a house. Really sweet, very, very sweet to look at. And I am currently, when I last worked on it, where are you? Anyway, I'm currently on the third wall. Obviously, when it's finished, you make it up into a lovely gingerbread house. They gave you a little light that goes inside at the end. The windows you cut out, so I've still left them in at the moment. But you could either stitch black lines like a leaded window, or you could cut it out and they give you a piece of vellum just to go behind to make it look like glass, frosted glass. So I plan to cut mine out and use the vellum. I might even use something patterned. I've got a few pieces of vellum somewhere. So there you go. The threads came sorted. No, they didn't come sorted. You got the threads bit by bit. So the first few days you just got the brown and the pink and the white. The DMC threads, so you got the numbers, and you got the thread organiser. So I sorted them out onto there. The brown, pink and white, because there was so much of it, I actually put on some pip and chip bobbins that I've got. Some little cute sewing machines, because I thought, well, I'm not going to get them mixed up, and that was just easier for on and off. So that's what I did with my threads. So, I mean, really, I think that is absolutely lovely. The threads, the patterns, the work that's gone into it to create that's freshly created for this advent calendar, separated up, and then you have this wonderful thing at the end. It was great. I think it was about £60. Under £60, might be like 59 or 55, something like that. And a proportion of the sale went to Well Child, which is a UK charity, and they also had Zoom stitching gatherings. And the first one, I only managed to do the first one. They actually had someone from Well Child talking all about how the money that's raised from the Advent calendar goes to helping the children in need, the children that are in need for the service that they provide. So, all in all, I'm really, really impressed. Alison and Annie, they're called, that manage Stitchfinity. I think they did a great job, and I highly recommend it. The only thing for me was that it took all my stitching time, so I maybe only have a couple of hours a day, not uninterrupted, sort of piecemeal, and I felt a pressure to keep up. Obviously, there isn't a pressure to keep up. There's no pressure whatsoever. It's just self-imposed. So I kept up till about day 13. I'd missed one day. I worked on something else, and by day 13, I was like, I really need to put this down now. I can't keep just stitching on this. I want to do other Christmas things. So I felt like it restricted me a little bit. But again, that's just down to me. That's all on me. It wouldn't necessarily be anybody else's experience. I should probably have started mid-November and started opening the envelopes, but I was totally saving the surprise for the 1st of December. If I did it again this year, I'd just start earlier, and so I could go slower. With the aim to finish by Christmas, because that would have been nice to have had the little gingerbread house done and dusted. However, it doesn't matter. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. So that was Stitchfinity. Really great, really great. Highly recommend that. So what next? So my other project I was working on in December was a sal I was doing with Debbie, the patchwork quilter. We decided we would try to do Heart in Hand, Tiny Town, Christmas Tiny Town. Really wanted to do it. It's so lovely. I don't know if you've done any Heart in Hand. They're very sweet. And Debbie got started on the first, went great guns. I think I started on the first, maybe I started a little bit later because I was doing the Stitchfinity as well. And then when I put the Stitchfinity down, I was working on my Heart in Hand. Let's find a good spot. So I used my own colours for this. You can see these are the colours on the chart. Mine are just a tiny bit brighter. I wanted to make use of some paint box threads that I got at the Snowman retreat in October. That's my mass of threads. They're like a pearl cotton. You just use one strand. I had received from Zarina at Hawkins Hobbies her mystery box. We did mystery box swap. I think I did talk about that. I don't think that was in my discarded video. Anyway, so one of the things that Zarina had got me was a pack of threads from the paint box threads, and that was Holly and the Ivy, and it was all bright colours, and that's how it comes. So I had taken some from there, some from this one that I already had, and a couple of others, and I did my own swatch card with my symbols and a bit of thread, and that's how I did my tiny town. So yeah, really, really enjoyable, very sweet. I really love the little bunting. The fabric I've picked is the same fabric that I'm doing my Mirabilia on. I liked it because it looks like Northern Lights. This is, it's a 32, I think. Come on, Emma. Tiny Town, 32 count, fabric flare, opal, in opalescent. So yeah, I am planning to finish this as a drum. I watched Vonna's tutorial, quite happy with, I think I know how I'm going to approach that, but I just really liked the fact that it will look like Northern Lights behind the town, which I thought was just too cute. Really loved the little bow on the tree, loved the bunting. I'm thinking about putting some beads on this Christmas tree, just to brighten it up a bit, put some ornaments on it. And then I'm really not that far off. There's just, so I'm part way through that third from the end house. Then there's the tall slim one, and then reindeer stable or something like that. Anyway, so that I shall continue with. I'll put your picture in of Debbie's. Debbie did a beautiful job. Sorry I didn't finish mine, Debbie. Life. And I shall continue and have it finished for this Christmas instead. But I really enjoyed using these threads. These were a lot of fun and glad to find a use for some bit more stash, really. I'll just pop that one down there. Okay. I also did a sal with, well, I was supposed to do a sal with Emily, stitching from Gnome Cottage. We agreed in November that we would work on our second Dimensions Christmas ornament. The first one, we've both done the first one, which is this one, and I wanted to go on to this one, and Emily, oh Em, I've forgotten which one you went to. Did you go to the Snowman? So this was supposed to be November stitching. Obviously November was the month of illness, and so that was as far as I got. Sorry, Emily. It was a long shot, but anyway, so this one was on a plastic Ada supplied by Dimensions. You turn it into the jar at the end. Very sweet. You'll see in the previous Flosstube my finish of this one. So I had that up all December. And this is another one that I shall work towards doing for this December. So obviously between the plastic Ada of this and the perforated paper of Stitchfinity and the acrylic baubles that I'd worked on, I was really finding pain in my thumb there, and I was just desperate to stitch on some fabric. So that's part of the issue why the Stitchfinity and that one also went by the wayside, because I really wanted to be back on fabric. You can only do a pincer hold for so long, can't you? So there was that one. So I also worked on my Cottage Garden Samplings Needleworker from 2022. No. Yes, this was December 2022. Okay, so I made a start at some point this year, and so I carried on doing some work on him. I've just got his little arm holding the sack there. Do really enjoy working on him. I absolutely love this fabric. So this is 36 count linen fabric flare. The colour is mocha? No, stone. Colour is stone. Really nice. I've just overlocked the edges on my sewing machine. Lovely feel to it. I'm doing 2/2. Just double check for you. I am doing 2/2, and so I've got a lovely full finish. Yeah, really sweet. But obviously I wish I could get it stitched like that in an instant, but you can't, can you? I have obviously still all the others waiting in the wings that I really would like to do, as well as signing up for this year's very exciting houses from Cottage Garden Samplings. So I shall continue with that. That's one of my many whips this year, but it's lovely fabric, lovely pattern, will be done. And this was another one of my project bags that I'd made from the By Annie project bag 2.0 pattern. That's my nerd hoop for that one. Keep that in there. So those are my finishes, my whips, and I've got one more whip to show you, but I'll save that to the end. That's my favourite. This one I shall show you now is by Fairy Wool in the Wood. Months in a Mug. And this is from 2023. So this was this time last year release. She also provides you with stickers and a charm each month. So I have a few months of them. I haven't got every month, just the ones I really liked. I plan to finish it in a pillow like that. So I thought I need to get that started in January and get it finished in January. So this is my progress so far. Oh, very cute. Super cute. This is on a piece of Sparklies fabric, if you couldn't guess already. Harvest Blush it's called. Opalescent, even weave, 32 count. Very tight weave. So there's literally no gaps. The thread looks good. I'm stitching 2/2. I'm just using the Cold 4 DMC. I haven't even kitted this up. I'm literally just picking the DMC as I need it and then putting it back. So for example, the orange nose, you know, I had to just pinch that from something, Indian Maiden perhaps, and then I could just put it back again. And the red, there's a little bit more red. So I've just started on the outline of the jar, not the jar, the mug. And yeah, love it, really love that one. It's a really fun stitch. Will be made in a pillow so that you can see lots of this lovely fabric and the sparkle. I was thinking even actually using the same fabric to back it with. Just mulling that one over. So that is my latest start. I started that on the 2nd of January. And I would like to have it finished by the end of January. That's my plan for that one. And my start in December, as I was talking about my nephew Teddy, he was born at the end of December 2022, and I had previously done a birth sampler for his big brother, which I'll put a little picture in. And so when Teddy was born, my sister-in-law said, please will you do something for Teddy? Yes, of course I will. Obviously the difference was when I did my first nephew's birth sampler, it was lockdown. He was a lockdown baby. So, and I think I was pretty much still a one project at a time, or not, you know, maybe 2 projects at a time. Those days when you just worked on something until it was finished. So I'd got his done in nice timing and sent it in a big parcel after he was born. We didn't actually get to meet him until he was 6 months old. Obviously Teddy we met very quickly. I'll put a little picture in of Teddy. I'm sure my Hayley won't mind, my sister-in-law. So sweet. So she wanted a Teddy-themed cross-stitch for his birth sampler. So I looked at quite a few. Obviously, there's lots and lots and lots. And I decided on this one by Ursula Michaels. I'll put a picture there because I haven't got it anywhere to show you. Have I? No, I haven't got it. It was a PDF download, so I have no idea what I've done with the pattern. I'm working on it from Knit Companion, which is what I use for instead of Markup XP or Pattern Keeper, or I use Knit Companion. No idea how I first heard of that. It's quite a complex program. As it sounds, it was, I guess, designed for knitters and crocheters, crocheters, but can also be used for cross stitch. And there's lots and lots of things I love about Knit Companion. Anyway, I'll talk about that another time maybe, if I figure out how to show you all the great things that Knit Companion does. However, Let's Love Teddy is on Knit Companion, so that's why I haven't got something to show you. So this is where I am up to. So yes, he was born at the end of 2022. So it came to his first birthday party, and I got in a panic about 4 days before and thought, oh, I've still not started the sampler for Teddy. He's going to be 18 before I know it. So I made a quick start on this just in the run-up to New Year, so that I could show his mum and dad that I was working on something. And so you can see Teddy's face there. It's so lovely. The pattern calls for one particular thread. I decided to make my own choice. I chose this lovely purple 29 for the cross stitches. And you'll see, if you know Ursula Michaels' designs, it's mostly back stitch with some cross stitch detail. And I chose this teal for the back stitch lines. So I think they complement nicely together. I have popped it on some 28 count even weave, and it's a Zweigart, got an orange line. I don't know what the colour is, it's just some sort of pale blue. So there you go, that looks sweet, doesn't it? It stitches up quickly because it's mostly back stitching. It's a pleasure to stitch. I need to get it done, and obviously I'll put his birth details on there, but it's interspersed with all the other projects that I want to do. So that's Let's Love Teddy. So that was a December start. So that was it for my finishes, whips and new starts, with the exception of one that I wanted to have done for my birthday, which, surprise, surprise, I won't have done for my birthday, but life, So the one I wanted to have done, where is her pattern? One moment. Okay, so this is what I've been working on. Nora Corbett, Capricorn. Oh, lovely. Very lovely. Loads of beads, some silks, which are just delicious. And here's where I'm up to. Look at those horns. That's not hanging thread, that's the border. I'll remind you of it there. And all the gaps are for lovely, lovely beads. Can't wait to do those. So the three silks that it uses are Karen Water Lilies. Let me just pop that down a moment while I'm wobbling it about. Karen Water Lilies Espresso. Look at that. at that. It's beautiful. The next one is hot peppers. Let me show you this. Look at this. Look at the variation. I absolutely adore them. They're so nice. And the third one is grape. And this one is grape. Look at that. So I'm absolutely in love with those. They're so soft. Stitching with them is so nice. So this is the grape. I've picked carefully how I was stitching because I wanted this to be mostly the very pinky bit more than purple. The espresso is in the horns, and this also, I'm not going to see greatly. I don't think you can really make that out, but you can make it out in real life, the variation. And then obviously you can see these sections in her hair. So with variegated thread, you stitch whole crosses at a time. Some of you obviously will already know that. Some of you might never have stitched with variegated thread. And the reason for that is so the colour will just gently fade as you transition as you're stitching. And you should work on the same direction. And you can see for this section of her hair, I have worked horizontally. And then for some reason, I didn't do this on purpose. I worked vertically for this section of her hair. So you can see the variegation changes direction. Now, obviously, which is a big no-no. That would look really silly. However, I think I get away with it with this because it's hair. So I was really thrilled, actually. I looked back at it and I thought, oh, what have I done? I've done it. And then I thought, actually, that looks quite good because it looks like this bit of hair is going up and this bit of hair is going back. So I am totally happy with my accidental mistake, happy accident. I don't mind at all. And the thing that I really love is that nobody else's will look the same. Anybody else that stitches Capricorn, because of the variegated threads, you're going to have something that looks completely different. I mean, you can see the variation in the colours, depending on which section you pick when you're cutting to stitch with it. You could have a completely different colour range. So, love her, I really love her. I can't wait to bead her. I love beading so much. She's very pretty, so that's my Capricorn lady in honour of my birthday on Saturday. Absolute dream to stitch on. I have all her materials in one box. I tend to keep my whips kitted up, bigger whips kitted up in a box like this with all the threads. I try and do individual threads, then I can just pop, when I've finished, I can just pop it in the little section without worrying about rewinding it back on, just to make life easier. I'll just show you the beads for her. They're so pretty. So let me just pop these on here so you see the colours of these. And she is going to be adorable. I really would like an oval frame for her to put her in, so I'm just on the lookout for that. Obvious, Emma, obvious. Oh, goodness me. Right, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Come on, you can do it. There we go, there we go. Look at them. Look at those. This is my absolute favourite, this one. What is the colour of this? No, I don't know. 2077. Look, so it's just like the grape. Variegated thread. Love them. They're going to look so sweet. So thrilled to bits with her. She is a very enjoyable project. Highly recommend stitching one of the birth signs, the Zodiac signs, ladies, if you fancy it. Yeah, so there you go, Capricorn. Lovely. So that is all my whips. Oh, no, I'm not going to put her there in case Raffy comes to have a nosy what I'm doing in a minute. He's having a sleep in the next room. Lay on his back on the couch with his legs in the air, quite happy. It's a very peaceful doggy. He's no trouble at all. He's so sweet. It was his birthday at Christmas, Boxing Day. He just turned 2, so he's our fully grown boy now. Still behaves like a child, like dogs do, especially Labradors. So, what else to tell you? I really enjoyed going through those. I'm going to be very kind to myself and not too critical about this Flosstube. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I have my book of days started for 2024. Haven't done one of these before, but watch a bit of Hygge Stitcher and you're like, oh, I want one of these. So this is where I'm up to so far. Pinks are my new starts, which is the 2 zippy bags and the months in a mug. So those are the three that you can see in pink there. The rest are the whips I've been working on. So I've been stitching quite hard in January. And I've ordered some lovely stickers from somebody on Etsy. So that's another one of my projects for 2024. I also, in the interim between my last Flosstube and this Flosstube, received the Hearts for Pam package. If you watch Lisa Lost in Stitches, you may have heard her talking about it last year, sort of last summer, before last summer. And this is Cottage Garden Threads, a company in Australia or New Zealand? Australia. And it's a mother and daughter team, and the mother was battling cancer, and so they were doing a fundraiser towards that. So they did a package where you could sign up for patterns and threads from them. So I received that package in December. Look at these lovely threads. These are all specially for the Hearts for Pam. That one's a nice one. Look at that one. Package. So those are very lovely. And one of the patterns I want to do from that is this one. Queen of Threads. How lovely is that? So that's on my list for 2024. I also went to the Knitting and Stitching show in November. That was one of the main things I talked about on my Flosstube that went in the bin. So the highlights of that is I bought lots of things. I really loved being there. Was gutted not to have actually met up with Emily and Natalie from Home Handmade and Stitching from Gnome Cottage, because they were there on the same day as me. We tried to, but it was very busy, and obviously you're shopping, and we've never met each other before, so it was probably a stretch, but hopefully in the future we shall. So I got lots of lovely haul from there. One of the stalls I shopped from was Debbie Harris Designs, and I bought this project bag, which came as a kit. A little bit crinkly, sorry for the crinkly. Look at that zip with the blue ring pull on it, all the fabric. So this is yet another kind of project bag, which I shall have a go at. I don't know about the denim, I'm not a big denim fan. This is denim here, or denim-like. I will probably sub that in for some fabric that I've got. But I've never done paper piecing before, so you've got everything to give that a go. And this is my year of trying new things, or things that I think I can't do, but actually I can do if I just put my mind to it. So I did buy quite a few things from her stall. I won't show you anymore. But then I entered a competition when I got back with her and won. And she sent me this lovely sewing machine pincushion. How cute is that? Love that. And some fat quarters. Look at this fabric. How lovely is that? What's that one? That's sewing machines. Look at that. And the colourway. The notions. How lovely is that? So this was part of the prize, along with some other things as well. So that was very lovely of her. I felt very lucky because I'd just purchased a load of stuff, and then I won some stuff as well. So check her out, Debbie Harris Designs. She's got some great things. And what else? So I have talked about that. This was my Christmas present off my husband. I've been dying for one of these for years. Haven't really got anywhere to put it. This is my desk, which is normally filled with stuff. However, obviously now I've got one with all the threads. So thrilled to bits with that. This you might like. Don't look if you're easily offended. A little coaster of my husband. That was a previous year coaster. He's very good, isn't he? He takes hints well about sewing themed things. This I found in a shop in Skipton. How cute is that? Little needle felted balls sheep. I did a bit of Christmas shopping with my sister in December and got that. How lovely is he? And then another thing I found on Etsy recently, which I thought I'd show you, is a little vinyl decal of the little mice from Cinderella making the dress, aren't they? So to find somewhere to put that. Well, that was really sweet. That was from an Etsy shop called Newberry's Shop. Newberry's. So they've got other ones as well. Very sweet. And my final bit of news that I wanted to talk about was my big project for this year. Apologies I've not shown you Indian Maiden or my Princess and the Pea, Sleeping Beauty, Mirabilia. I haven't put hardly anything in either of those, so there's no point in me showing those. The Indian Maiden has had a bit more work, but I shall save her for when I've done a bit more work on her, and then it's something more to show you. So sorry if you were hoping for a glimpse of my Indian Maiden. However, so on the theme of my Mirabilia, my big Joan Elliott, I'm not really counting Capricorn, she's smaller, but I suppose, yeah, she's another biggish project. I wanted a new challenge for this year. So one I have been thinking about for a while is doing Chatelaine. I've seen them a few times. However, when I went to the June Nobam retreat in Northampton last June, there was a lady there called Val Thomas. She's not really on Instagram, but you might have seen her if you're in some Facebook groups, specifically to the Chatelaine, the UK Chatelaine Facebook group. She's done a lot of Chatelaines and she had them all out on a brag table. And one of the ones she had done was the Polar Beauty Mandala. I shall put a picture here. I mean, this piece is stunning. You really can't get the magnitude and the beauty of these pieces unless you see them for real up close, I think. So I'd never really given them too much thought. I just thought, oh, they're too big, I can't do them. And then until I saw Val's. Val obviously is very proficient. she'd done several over several years. Polar Mandala was beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and I fell in love with it. So I heard that Chatelaine do a Good Friday sale once a year, and that's the only one they do. So I waited until the end of November and got myself the Polar Mandala pattern from the Chatelaine website in the Good Friday sale. So since then I have had it on my mind, wasn't sure what I was going to do, when I was going to start it, and then just this last week my husband was really struggling with what to get me for my birthday. So I said, obviously he already got me the chest, so I have every DMC in there. So straight away I have already all the DMCs for this mandala. And I said, well, you could get me the specialty flosses, the extra flosses, the fabric, the beads, etc. I obviously would do all the legwork, and he could just take the credit. That's my birthday present. Obviously, it's a special treat. It is not a cost-effective decision to do a chatelaine. Many, many, many threads. Let me show you. If you go on the Chatelaine website, which is chatelaine.de, because it's in Germany, so it's Deutschland.com, chatelaine.de.com, you can print off the materials list for all the projects before you even buy them. So, for example, this is my materials list for Polar Mandala. That first page is DMCs, second page DMCs down to here, and then we have a mix of Karen Water Lilies, Karen Impressions, Dinky Dyes Silk Pearl, Gloriana Silk, Gloriana Florimel, Gloriana Luminescence, Gloriana Princess Pearl Petite, etc, etc. And then there's a third page with Rainbow Treasure Braid, Silk Lame Braid, and then all the beads. So, and because these patterns are, well, this one is from 2012, so it's quite old now, there are materials on here that are very hard to get, also because of not only the age but because of COVID and problems with the supply chain from the small businesses that make the hand dyes. Some of the names of things have changed. So, for example, so one of the things on here is this Gloriana Luminescence Twilight Blue, which in doing my research, that's a retired shade, so you can't even get that anymore. She does provide some DMC alternatives, that's what the last column is. You can see that she puts POS on some of them. This is, when I say she, I'm referring to Martina, the designer, who is sadly no longer with us. So there'll never be any more. These ones are the ones that are she designed and published. That's it. That's all we're ever going to have. So that's another reason why it makes Chatelaines a bit special. If you go on the website, if you don't know anything about her, you can read. There's a really nice cover page all about Martina and her artistic background, and then a message from her daughter Ella, who has taken over the running of the website, keeps it as updated as possible with replacement threads, colour changes, any errors that people spot. Still runs the promotions like the Black Friday sale, but there's a lovely little bio there about her and her mother. So I recommend, if you're interested in chatelaines, go and have a read and then just have a little peruse of the website. This has definitely been a goal of mine. It was definitely something I thought I couldn't do, and now I know there's absolutely no reason why I couldn't. I couldn't do it. Of course I could do it. However long it'll take me, that's another question, but also irrelevant. I don't mind. Doesn't matter, does it? I do like a finish, but, you know, I guess that phrase of being a process stitcher, it is the process of it. It is the actual stitching that is so enjoyable. So I've worked my way through my list, and just this morning, the Glorianas that I managed to source from, where did I get my Glorianas from? West End Embroidery. Not bad, £5.25 a skein. Look at these. These are the softest things I've ever felt in my entire life. Look at those. So that one is called Twilight Blue. There's 3 of that. Obviously that's going to be Night Sky. Oh no, it's not called Twilight Blue. That was the one I just said doesn't exist anymore. That's called Purple Night Sky. And that clearly is a lot of the sky in the mandala. And then we've also got Cinnamon, and need 2 of Cinnamon. This one is Autumn Gold. Look. 2 Autumn Gold, 1 French Blue, and 2 Cottage Woods. So pretty and so soft. Oh, absolutely. Oh my goodness. So I did consider the various options of kitting up. You can obviously buy a whole kit from European Cross Stitch. I also had the option of going to Hawkins Hobbies because I know Zarina would kit up all the specialty threads and beads. But actually I really enjoy that part of the process as well. I really enjoy the kitting up. I've enjoyed going through the list. I've enjoyed looking on forums and going on the Facebook groups and trying to figure out what is possible to get, how quickly you can get them, what doesn't exist anymore. And I've really enjoyed the process of figuring it all out. It's part of the learning. It's part of the experience, I think, for me. So I have managed to order all my dinky dies from Lakeside. The Glorianas, obviously you can see. I did decide, there's some pearls on here, and there's some number 8 pearl, number 12 pearl equivalent, some that I just were very difficult to come by, and so I had to just make the decision that I would not use the pearl, and I would just stick to the stranded threads instead. So I have substituted so the Pearl Petites, the Gloriana Pearl Petites, 2 of the colours, the Cottage Woods and the Cinnamon, you could not get. Could you get? Yeah. They were just really, really difficult. So I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to replace the pearls with silks. Obviously, I will lose some of the texture for some of the stitching. But again, the opportunity to stitch the whole thing is good enough. Perfect doesn't have to be the enemy of good. So I've made a decision. The ones I definitely couldn't get, for example, the Retired Shade, and the Florimel. There was 2 Florimels. Anyway, they're very difficult. The ones that are really difficult to get hold of, or nigh on impossible, I made a decision that I would swap and I would substitute. So I have done some substitutions. that was all my very enjoyable work. Those are my Glorianas that came this morning. So I'm waiting on my lakeside delivery for my fabric and some other overdyes, and then I'm going to get started. The only other choice that I had to make with this particular chatelaine was whether to stitch the central motif over 1 or over 2. So you get 2 different charts within the whole chart for the central square, and I have decided I'm going to do it over 2. I don't think it's worth the pain. I was listening to somebody else who said, I think that central square, if you do it over 1, is something like 27,000 stitches, not including all the rest of the chatelaine. So that's a no-brainer for me. Perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good, and it looks beautiful no matter what. I admire the people that do 1 over 1. It's not for me, I don't think. Not at this stage. And that's fine. So I'm going to do the over 2 option, and as soon as my fabric comes, I am going to get started. I'm using the called for fabric, which is just a plain 32 count. What does she recommend? Martina's recommendation. She's very strict on saying, you know, you really should just use what she's designed. There's a reason for her, the way she's designed it with what she's designed. And I sort of feel like I should honour that really for this first one. She says first one, like I'm going to go on to do many more. Zweigart Belfast, just in a white. So I am really, really looking forward to challenging myself with that, because like I say, this is going to be my year where I'm going to do the things that I've already told myself previously that I couldn't possibly do, because there's no reason for that. There's no reason to be so hard on ourselves, is there? Maybe it's just me. No. I'm sure we all think like that sometimes. So this is the year of having a go, enjoying the process. If life is in the way, life's in the way. There's nothing I can do about that. I have a family, they have needs, and their needs are just as important as mine. This is my pleasure and downtime, but sometimes still other things have to happen, don't we? We all have responsibilities, children, parents, animals, life, households, etc, etc. So thanks for sticking with me. 1 hour 14, that was quite a long time. I'm surprised my phone hasn't given me the big no, that's far too much. So I shall say bye-bye. Look forward to seeing everybody else's stitching as always, and those of you on Flosstube that I watch, you'll know because I comment on you. Love watching you all, and lots of love. Take care. Bye.